Hey, in this video not only will you get the story of how I came to Jesus, but also my reasonings for a lot of my beliefs. Um, so I guess I'll just get right into it. I was raised somewhat Christian by my mom. My dad is one of the people who says that a child should come to their own beliefs, and although he's well intentioned, and he is a Christian, by the way, this leads me to one of my core beliefs. If you are a Christian, you are obligated to raise your children Christian, backed up not only by my personal experience, which I'll get to later, but also by this verse. If anyone be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly. This is from Titus 1, verse 6, KJV. This verse, it kind of outlines what you need to do if you have kids. What you need to do is you need to make them not accused of having riot or unruly. So I think this means that your kids need to be believers. If you're a believer, that's your obligation. And it also is it makes sense intuitively, because if you have kids, then you want them to be saved. You want to see them in heaven when you go there. So that's one of my core beliefs. And this is also why I'm not Catholic, because Catholics say that a priest must be celibate, among other reasons. It's not the only reason. And if a priest is celibate, then he can't have believing children. And I think that, so it says, if any be blameless, I think that applies to priests. Anyway, tangent. As I was saying, I was raised going to church, but only occasionally. And while I was at my mom's house, so my parents never got married. My parents had me, I think, like at the end of their high school. Maybe my mom was like just finishing high school and my dad was already done. They were, I think, 1 year apart, if I remember. And so they weren't married, and they broke up not long after I was born. So I was at my mom's during the weekdays, and my parents alternated weekends. By the way, I apologize in advance for describing my strange life circumstances in such detail. I don't want sympathy. It's just information that's relevant to the story, okay? So back to the story. I rarely went to church growing up till about a year ago, when, after that, to my recollection, I don't think I've ever missed a week. Maybe like one. But I'll get to why later. So, I was occasionally going to church. I was doing okay in school, mostly like B's and C's. Then COVID hit, and it changed everything, as it did for everyone. Now I wasn't going to church at all. I was spending all my time at home. I got lazy and fat, and I felt strange. I didn't like school. All I wanted to do is sit at home all day and eat and watch TV and play video games and, do recently normalized kid things. And then I got it when COVID hit. And at first, it made me happy. I liked having that. I wanted COVID. I thought it was great because I got everything I wanted. I didn't have to do anything. But then it went away. The happiness went away. And it just didn't bring any fulfillment to my life. And so that happiness, I felt it go into something else, but I didn't know what that thing was. So after COVID ended, I tried jiu-jitsu, and it was great. I liked it. I was finally in pretty good shape for the first time in my life, and I still do it to this day. But that fulfillment I was looking for, it wasn't there either. It wasn't anywhere. It was in God. Spoiler alert. And at this point, I was in middle school. I still didn't know what I was looking for. I tried filling this hole, yeah, I know it's a cliche, with a few things during these years. Elective classes, I tried new kinds of music. I went to therapy. And this is the most embarrassing one. I became vegan for 2 years. Yeah, per the request of my mom's boyfriend at the time. But that's another story that I'm not going to cover right now. All these worked temporarily. I felt happy for the moment, but no fulfillment. The closest I came to finally finding God was at a Christian summer camp I went to, where I confessed my biggest fear at the time. So and looking back, these memories are super foggy. It was a long time ago. Actually, it wasn't even that long ago. It was like a couple years ago. But they're just super foggy. I don't remember these very clearly. And I confessed my biggest fear at the time to my youth leader, my youth pastor. And then my biggest fear, this is all I remember. I don't remember how I possibly could have come onto this idea, that I couldn't be a Christian because my parents having me out of wedlock was sinful. And obviously that's true, but like everyone's born in sin. I didn't even know what original sin was. I didn't know that every human being on the planet was born in sin because of Adam's original sin, or Eve. Yeah, Adam and Eve, both of them. Like he was the advocate for humanity. So I didn't know that at all. But it was a big stumbling block for me. But I got past it. He explained to me why I was wrong and why it was okay because Jesus forgives me. But I thought that was the reason why I couldn't convince myself to come to Jesus, why I wasn't like feeling any connection to Jesus. And what I think it was, looking back, was I was treating God as a part of the world around me and not a part of myself. I would observe God, I would feel happy that he's there, but I wouldn't carry him with me. I thought it would make life harder, when in reality Jesus says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. That's from Matthew 11, verse 30 from the ESV. And it's probably time that I mention that at this point in my life, like all through middle school, I was thinking a lot about self-deletion, to use a word that won't get me flagged by YouTube. I wanted an unattainable happiness, and when I started to believe it didn't exist, my life felt pointless. And the complete lack of church also made me call myself an agnostic around this time. Again, the memories are foggy. I don't know for how long or when exactly I did that, but my mom told me recently that around that point, I called myself an agnostic. The first semester of high school came, and that was a lot different for me. I don't know exactly what changed when I came to high school, but it was very different. I think I challenged myself. I promised myself, for whatever reason, that I'd work harder than I ever had in everything, even though I had like no motivation whatsoever. But just I was running on empty. I didn't know what to do, and better than anything else, it worked. I just promised myself I'd work as hard as possible. I went from a GPA of 3 around, usually like on average, and sometimes it was 3.1, 3.2, whatever, to 4.5 I had last year, both semesters, straight A's. I joined the wrestling team, which was a lot of work, but it was honestly worth it. Really fun. I'm still doing it now, and maybe I'll post some of my videos of tournaments sometime soon. If I don't know, because I do want this to be primarily about the gospel, but I guess if I could fit it in as like a non-weekly video, then that would be okay. I guess I haven't been posting weekly anyway. Anyway, tangent, sorry. Where was I? I joined the wrestling team, which was a lot of work, but it was honestly worth it. The confidence and good grades stayed, but toward the end of the semester, when I had to cut weight and it made me weaker, I began to lose some of my wrestling matches, and I wasn't very good anyway. So I in my first year, I was expected to work really hard, but I wasn't expected to win. I was expected to do my best. And I was pushed farther than I ever knew was my best. I thought my best was way less than they knew was my real best. And I got pushed to that point farther than I knew I could be pushed. And I was still losing. I still wasn't winning my matches. And this wasn't even, at tournaments too, yeah. But even, just in practice, and it just built on me. And it was weighing on me. I was doing so good in school that I've never done that well before. And just in practice, I couldn't do that well. I don't know why. And by the way, I'm doing a lot better this year. I'm so far this season, I'm 6-2. I've won 6. I've lost 2 matches. Last year, I don't know if I had even won 6 matches the whole time. So now we'll go to my only image. This is going to be a short video. I began to grow a sense of pride from my confidence, and I became angry when I lost. And this anger was directed at my opponents, but it wasn't their fault. We were just both going as hard as we could. And there was only 2 people who could possibly be directed at my opponent or me. And it just happened that in my mind, I decided that it was me, because obviously it was my opponent. It's not their fault. They're just doing their best too, just like I am. So it was my fault. And I was angry. And what you have to recognize in wrestling and in life in general is when you lose, yeah, it's your fault. Sometimes, not always. This doesn't apply to everything. But you don't need to be angry. Wrath is a sin. And I felt that wrath against my opponents. And then when I turned that around on myself, instead of recognizing that as sinful and saying, no, I need to stop feeling wrath, I decided, no, I need to feel wrath against myself. So that someone that I decided was at fault was me. And someone who I needed to feel angry at was me. And I was thinking of ending myself more than ever. And one day I decided to do it. So I'll show this picture on screen. Let's see. This was a quick little sketch I did of like the wrestling room. The wrestling room would be like behind this wall right here. So if you go in here and you turn right, and then there'd be like a door on the inside of this wall, and you'd be right here. And up here, there was a staircase that led to this second floor right here. It's kind of hard to see. I didn't draw it very well. So there would be like a fence right here, and then there was this is a floor, and then there was this gate right here. So there was this balcony. And so after practice, there's a water fountain over here. I went up the stairs. I went to the water fountain. Everyone else was over here. I came to the water fountain. And then I walked over here, and after everyone had already left, I was standing right here. And I was just standing here. And I was just thinking about it. And then I remember I was up there, and there was a man right here. And it wasn't anyone on the wrestling team. It wasn't any of the coaches. I didn't recognize him. And after I came down, he wasn't there. And looking back, I think he was an angel. It didn't occur to me at the time, but when I saw him there, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was shame. Maybe it was guilt that I'd traumatized some random guy, or that I embarrassed myself. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I remember thinking, I can't do this because of that man right there. I remembered the one thing that did occur to me is no one else was there. I stepped back from the railing so he wouldn't see me, and I just started praying. And I hadn't been to church in a long time. Maybe I had on like a one-off week, but I didn't have a relationship with God. Almost not at all. So I got down on my knees and I prayed. And that was the only thing that I thought to do. And so I went home, and after that day, I did 3 things. I went back into therapy, and this time, one of the first things I told my new therapist, last time I didn't do this, this is the second thing, is that I wanted to get closer to Jesus. And I don't know why, but I felt almost ashamed to say that, because it felt like the last time I did it, therapy felt like its own separate solution to the same problem that religion was. Like, if you're sad or depressed or whatever, you could go to therapy or you could go to religion. So talking to my last therapist about religion just felt strange for some reason. I don't know why. It felt weird to me. But this guy, I just decided to do it. And I don't know why I was surprised, but he was fully supportive. I guess that's what they're supposed to do, isn't it? And the third thing that I did, the most important thing I did, was I went to church, and I never looked back. I went to church every single week. I don't remember what I was talking about because I just had a phone call, but I want to... Okay, I'll start here. And I never looked back. I went to church every week, and I never missed a week. I maybe missed one. Now, to cap off my nightly prayers every night, I thank God for creating me, saving me on the cross, and saving me particularly on that balcony by putting that man down there, and for putting the idea in my mind to pray. So that is my testimony of how I came to Jesus. A little heavy, I know. I'm sorry for that. But it has a happy ending. It has a happy ending because it ended with Jesus. It ended with me coming to Jesus. And since then, I haven't had any sort of thoughts about, ending myself. But the important part of the story is Jesus. And then I'll put this right here. I just want to cap off the video by saying Jesus loves you. You in particular, maybe not everyone has a testimony like mine. Everyone's testimony is different. And the driving part of my testimony is not that Jesus saved my life. What is that Jesus saved my life? It's not what I went through before then. It's that Jesus saved my life. So the other parts of the story don't really matter. But I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry for missing a few weeks of uploading, which is why I'm uploading this one right after my last one, the day after, 2 days in a row, I know. But yeah, there you go. Jesus loves you. Have a good day. I'm uploading this on Sunday. Hope that you are going or have already been to church today. Jesus loves you.